Alright, so I'm back for the, I think, fourth installment of the questions for the 1500 Q&A. So I'm going to jump right back in where I stopped last time. First question for this session comes from Calcifer1234567, and they ask if I like anime, and if I do, what is my favorite? Okay, so I think a lot of people will be disappointed to know I really don't like anime. Um, Something about anime doesn't click with me. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like when you don't like something, you just kind of know you don't like it, and it's kind of hard to explain. For me, I see anime as more of an art form. I can appreciate why people like anime and things, but for me, I kind of don't see it as anything more than an art form. As entertainment, it just doesn't really cut it for me. So I don't particularly like anime. And any of the animes that I've seen, I feel are kind of more of the, I guess, like Americanized animes, if you know what I mean. When I was younger, I watched a lot of Pokemon and Digimon. I really like Digimon, actually. I really wish that would air back on TV, or at least where I am, because that was a really good show. I watched Card Captors, which I think is considered an anime. I really liked Card Captors when I was a kid. I had a huge crush on Lee. I thought he was like really cute when I was however old I was. I don't know, like 10 or 11. And I really liked Yu-Gi-Oh! I actually watched Yu-Gi-Oh! Quite a fair bit when I was younger growing up. So I think those technically count as like animes, but a lot of the more well-known animes that aren't particularly aired like here, uh, I haven't seen a whole lot of. I also watched Dragon Ball as a kid, like Dragon Ball Z, but it actually like scared me. All like the muscles of them, I guess when I was younger, was like terrifying. But Dragon Ball Z is something I'd be interested in getting into. Um, I watched Inuyasha, which is what I think turned me off of anime for, my whole life. I really didn't like Inuyasha. I had a friend growing up, and anime was like her life. And I'd go to her house all the time. She was one of my only friends when I was younger, and she would like watch animes with me, and we would like role play, and she would like spend all day like reading fanfics and stuff with her sister, who was also really into it, and I just wasn't into it. I even knew from a young age that anime just wasn't something that I was super into, and I just got really turned off by the fact that she would make me sit through Inuyasha, which was just a god awful show, by the way. Maybe I'd like it watching it now, but back then, Inuyasha is just like a terrible show in my opinion. Um, but I haven't really seen anything like Nuato, or someone mentioned Gundam Wing. I haven't seen that. I've watched a little bit of Beck, which is okay, and I really liked Kiki's Delivery Service, which is, I think, an anime movie, and Spirited Away. I've watched those, and I actually kind of genuinely enjoyed it. So I guess it's kind of a question that's yes and no. I never really got into it because most of the time I really can't enjoy it. However, there are really a few exceptions to the rule. Like I said, there's a few things I listed that really I didn't find too bad. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. It's something I get asked a lot, and a lot of people always seem like really super surprised that I'm not into anime, but I'm really not. So Hatumex. Alright, so Hatumex asks me two questions. He asks me first if I like tea, and if I do, what is my favorite flavor? So, tea is an awesome beverage. I really don't like coffee. Like, coffee smells good when it's just like the beans, or like the ground, when it's ground, but when it's actually made, it tastes awful and it smells awful. So yeah, tea is much more mild and it just tastes way better. So I'm really into all types of tea. I like green tea, and I like breakfast or Earl Grey tea. I would probably say Earl Grey is my favorite because it's really simple and you can add stuff to it and it tastes really good. And I've also tried more exotic stuff like orange tea, which really isn't too bad. And my mom is a huge tea lover too, so she always buys a bunch from the store and brings it home, and I can't really think of any specific sort of combination or brand to really, I guess, tell you what would be like my favorite. But yeah, I would say Earl Grey is definitely my favorite just because it is so plain and it tastes really good, but you can still add stuff to it. I personally like milk and 2 sugars in my tea. And then green tea I really like because you can drink it on its own. You don't really need to add stuff to it, and it just tastes delicious. So those are definitely my 2 picks. And his second question is asking me if I enjoy indie or freeware games. So I never really got into indie games, I guess. I'm one of those people who's not a PC gamer, and I feel like PC gamers have a lot more, I guess, exposure to indie games with services like Steam. I personally only got Steam, I think, like maybe a month ago. I think I got Steam in like December. So I haven't been on Steam a whole lot, which I know has a crap ton of indie games. And because I feel like most things that are ported through Nintendo or Microsoft, really a lot of people know about. So the only, I guess, indie games I can think of that I've tried, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I might be, but I think Minecraft is like technically an indie game. So I have played Minecraft. I'm not a huge fan of Minecraft. I find it really boring and repetitive. I tried Terraria. Again, I don't know if that's exactly an indie game. I like Terraria a lot better than I do Minecraft. And the third indie game I can think of that I've tried would be Cave Story, which I actually have for my Wii. I know it's on the computer as well, but I've tried Cave Story, which I really like. It's kind of like an 8-bit. I think it's 8-bit. Kind of like exploration game, and it's a lot of fun. I haven't beat it, but I played it, and it's really cutesy and adorable, and I liked it, and I know that is an indie game. I've also seen some indie games like Super Meat Boy, for example. I know is an indie game that I've never played because I know I would be terrible at it. So to answer your question, I guess I can't technically say I enjoy them because I just haven't played enough of them to really form a really solid opinion, but the ones, that I have played and I've seen other people play, they all look really good, and I certainly don't think there's anything wrong with indie games. If anything, I think a lot of them have a lot of mechanics and things that bigger gaming companies, seem to kind of miss because they're just too worried about making a lot of money, and from what I can see, a lot of indie games look like they're really well implemented and put together, so perhaps I'll get more into to indie games later on because that's always something to try. So next 2 questions come from davincentcode, another one of my friends and longtime viewers. So his first question was, how did I become partnered with so little views? So I kind of explained that when I did the video for not only these answers, asking these questions, and and I did the partnership video on top of that. So I kind of went over that a little bit in the partnership video. It just depends on which program you're getting partnered with. So I went with TGN, which, their claim to fame is partnering people that have low views. That is their claim, and, they claim that if you get a bunch of smaller gamers together, you can really kind of join as one and just expand in the community, which I think is a really good kind of message. So when I applied, I only needed 1,000 views per day on all my videos. Like every video on my channel, which really wasn't difficult for me because I have so many videos. So they're a really easy partnership program to get into, for example. But if you're looking at something bigger, like Ninbuzz or Machinima or the Game Station or whatever it is you're or Yoish, for example, I think is another one. Those are the 4 bigger ones that I can really think of at the moment. But if you're looking to get into something bigger like that, you have to be really quite established in the gaming community. Like most people who are really big, Chugga Connery, Nintendo Capri Sun, Luca Jin, Josh Jepson, all those people are partnered through the Game Station, and I think you need something crazy like 3 million views a month to get into. I'm sure they pay absolutely wicked, but yeah, a lot of partnership programs really take a lot more to get into. So if you are interested in getting partnered, then I just suggest you do your research before you apply for anything, so that you don't get discouraged if you do you don't get in, obviously. So that's just my little bit on that. And the second question he asks is, what projects do I have planned for 2012, and if I have any sort of new games planned. So I don't really know. It's something I've kind of wanted to ask everybody, is if they would be interested in something that's a little newer and a little more modern, because as you guys have noticed, I've played games that are relatively older. I mean, not that much older, usually from like Game Boy Color and up. So usually games that are like within the 10-year range, things that were made like 10, 15 years. So I don't really play retro games, which I think appeals to a completely different audience. I could be getting viewers that way, but I also don't really appeal to the people who are super into new games, and my curtains are flapping. It's distracting. And people who are looking for walkthroughs or opinions or reviews on newer games. And I actually have picked up a lot of new games this year. I've recently got Final Fantasy 13 2, which I actually have sitting right beside me. I have Skyward Sword, and I do play new games. I have Skyrim, but I just don't let's play them because I feel like I just feel like I'm stepping out of my comfort zone if I'm playing a game that I just really don't know well. I feel like I'm more prone to people really, I guess, pointing out all the flaws. You missed this, you missed this, you missed this, blah blah blah, which after a while really irritates me, which is why I generally try to stick to games I know. But, you know, if enough people could convince me, you know, I might do something like Skyward Sword, do a little bit of practice beforehand, and then kind of jump in, and then, of course, explain to people it's not 100%, you know, and stuff like that. So I don't particularly have anything new planned. The only thing I could think of that I might do would be Batman, because I actually have Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, and I guess I was fairly decent at them, not pro player by any means. As for other projects I have planned, obviously a lot of them I've already gone over. Golden Sun will probably still be going for the majority of the year because I still have the second and the third to go through. I plan to do more Silent Hill games. Harvest Moon I try to kind of mix in with what I'm doing because a lot of people subscribe for Harvest Moon. But as for something that kind of deviates from the path, something a little different that people might be looking for, I really don't know. It's really difficult to say because it's just going to depend on how much time I have and what kind of resources I have available to me. So yeah, I'm sorry that I didn't really answer that question very well because it's really hard to know what I have going because I don't particularly plan really far ahead on what games I'm going to do. So thank you, and yeah, if you guys want to leave suggestions for newer games that you do want to see, you can go ahead and leave them. I'm not necessarily saying I will play them or that I won't, but it's always nice to know that if you guys do want to see new playthroughs, then at least let me know, and I will at least know people would be interested in watching. So I guess I will leave this as a little bit of a shorter video. I still have quite a few left, but I think I can probably squeeze them into another video, and then hopefully I'll be able to actually finish up this Q&A thing. It's been a lot of fun, but I sure ramble a whole hell of a lot. So anyways, that's it. I will see you guys next time for what will hopefully be the last of the questions. So see you then.